My next guest is a fierce advocate of local independent music. He runs record label Infidelity Recordings and has worked with Aussie bands Spiderbait, Magic, Dirt and The Scientists. Please welcome Mr. Bruce Milne. Hey Bruce.
How are you?
Welcome. Now Bruce, what I failed to mention there, and the reason you've been making the most news lately is your relationship with the Tote. You were the licensee of the Tote for what, 20 years?
No. I was one of the owners of the business for 10 years. I was the licensee, or the nominee as we call them in Melbourne, Victoria, for the last 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
Good. I added them together and tacked on another 5 because I went, I'll pump your tyres up a bit. Now what's happened, because everyone knows, of course, there's been a pretty famous battle that the Tote actually got shut down. Was it in February?
It was in January. I mean, it was my choice to close it down. It was a business decision because I couldn't afford to keep fighting liquor licensing, and I couldn't make a profit working under the regulations that said it was a high risk venue.
And so why was it deemed high risk?
It was pretty much an across the board thing that any venues, music venues that were open after 1 o'clock in the morning were high risk. And the Tote was only open after 1 on Fridays and Saturday nights, but the condition goes across the whole week. So if you've got an acoustic band playing in the front bar on a Saturday afternoon for free, you've got to have 2 bouncers standing there, even if there's only 3 or 4 people sitting around the bar. It was just ridiculous.
And it essentially means that you're then lumped in the same category as nightclubs, which have 1,000 people crammed in their doors.
Exactly. Any nightclub you've read about or seen on television with the real problems with stabbings and all that sort of stuff, we're in exactly the same category. And,
right, and which I was reading that the Tote, the police haven't been called out to the Tote for a violent incident for your 9 years in...
No, it was crazy. It was just silly.
Okay.
The Collingwood cops loved us, they were always supportive of us, but they just didn't have a say in it. It was, it was new regulations with liquor licensing and...
Now, and there was a point where I believe you thought the battle for the Tote was over, but there's been massive protests. There was one I went to in the city, which they say 20,000 people. I think there was more than 20,000 people there, and people like Paul Kelly and Missy Higgins turned out to save live music.
Yeah.
It must be amazing to see such a turnout of that.
That was incredible. Just to see the Melbourne music community, musicians and fans, actually getting themselves organised and doing something. I've been putting out records and going to gigs since the mid-70s, and this was like the first time I'd seen anything like it.
And like you said, musicians and bands, this protest started at 4 p.m. It was good to get, this is a cross-section of people that you're just happy if they're out of bed by that time, But it is, each person in this category, that's got to be worth like 5 businessmen. It is great. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot harder to motivate and get them out of bed. Yeah. I'm a comedian. I'm not out of bed before midday, so I feel like I can throw stones in this area. But the Tote, it's reopened.
It's reopened, so I don't know why you got me on the show.
I don't either. No. But it is, because it's a great story, and it kind of represents a lot of our battle for live music in Melbourne to keep going, and it is such an important thing. What can people do in terms of, obviously, go out and see gigs to support live music and keep it going, but it is such an important part of our city.
Yes. And look, I think, keep on the government's back, regardless of which side of politics there, is the government, and make them support it, make them recognise that, along with so many other things, Melbourne's got something really incredible and special, and rather than trying to clamp down and stop it to protect the 1%, get out there and
have fun.
Yeah, and support it. It's as Wally Meany said, it's not rocket surgery.
It's not. And of course, the Tote has reopened. I know you've passed on the baton, and those days for you are over. Have you been back to the venue?
Oh yeah.
And how's it? Like last time I was there, the place just oozes rock, and that carpet. I know people were cutting up the carpet and taking home souvenirs. Is it true that if you fall on the carpet at the right angle, you end up pregnant?
Well, I never have, but I've certainly fallen on it a few times. But it's actually you should pop down because they've got a nice new clean carpet in that won't be clean for that much longer. But whilst it is, it's a sight to behold. And
where are some other, if people are wanting to go see live music, people are watching this and going, yeah, this is a great idea. Where should people go? What are a few bars that...
Well, because I live in the sort of the Collingwood area, I tend to hang around there. I mean, small places like Bar Opener, and especially the Old Bar. That's a real favourite of mine. Yayas can be great. But, you know, if I was living south of the river, well, actually, there's not that many places south of the river. The Espy.
Head to that side, go see some live music. Bruce, thanks so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Milne.